I just need the taste of your lips to make my brain eclipse. Let me touch your soul and your skin, dancing in the middle of the sea. Baby, drive me there at night. I wanna ride through the city lights, forgetting all we had in mind, living like we're never gonna die. Fight against the storm if you dare. All things go away in the end. Run away from who you are. Run, but you can't hide for long. We're gonna ride, we're gonna fly, we're gonna cry through the city lights. We're gonna feel alive. We're gonna sing through the city lights all night. Baby, drive me there at night. I wanna ride through the city lights, forgetting all we had in mind, living like we're never gonna die.
You guys, I don't have time to
We're
like have an
live,
intro.
pal.
Thanks. I don't have a time for an intro. We gotta get right into this. I'm already late. Just got back from a wedding, and yeah, no time to fucking say any shit. We're gonna debate here and then stick around after for the story or whatever, right? So
Yeah, even Martinez, it was fine. When you play the intro, you don't hear anything.
Okay,
On the
so
stream.
all right, Todd, he's here, so I'm gonna put everybody backstage, and we'll get going. Hey guys, welcome to Politically Provoked, an interactive podcast where we host debates, panels, and interviews. If this is your first time joining us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell to keep up to date with all our future debates and panels. So, oh god, and I have your name with it too, but whatever. I'm your host Brittany. I'm here with my co-host Todd. How are you?
I'm doing great, Britt. How are you?
We've had a bit of a rocky start, but we're getting it.
dear.
So we were running a little bit late, but we are all here now. We are going to be debating imperialism. So let's bring on our guest. First up, let's bring on Flosny. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Brittany and Todd?
I'm good. So yeah, if
Great.
you want to introduce yourself, tell people where you lie on the political spectrum and where people can find you.
I'm Flosny. You can find me on Discord, FlosnyGG. I like to debate things. I am a liberal imperialist, which we'll be going into great detail tonight, hopefully. And yeah, I think that everything else will come out in the debate here.
Alrighty. Next up, let's bring on Infrared. How are you?
good. Just got back from a wedding, so that's why I'm.
How
just,
was it? Did you dance?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I was in and out. Yeah, but yeah, just Marxist Leninist. I call myself Marxist Leninist in the age of multipolarity and the post-COVID world. So it's a unique type, I guess. Simple and anti-imperialist. I'm simple as that.
All Alrighty. So here is what we will do. Each person can give an opening statement. It can be as little as 1 minute, no longer than 5, about the topic and your stance. After that, we'll open up the floor. For those watching, if you have questions, tag Politically Provoked. Who your question is addressed to, we will get to them during the Q&A. And we'll do closing statements and final thoughts after the Q&A. I don't know if you guys want the chat on the screen, if it's going to be distracting. I could do that just during the Q&A if you want. But we have a new little thing that shows the chat overlay, and I'm kind of excited about it. So, like, watch, just watch. Go on, chat, go up. It's fucking with me now. All right, forget it. All right, well, let's go to opening statements. Flossie, why don't you get us started?
All right. So the question today is, can imperialism be a force for good? Man is born into a world of oppression. That oppression can come from other men, the institutions we create, or nature itself. The purpose of man is to liberate himself and others from this oppression. The best way to achieve this liberation is with a strong democratic empire. What is an empire? An empire is a state that exerts its political, economic, and social will over a diverse territory. All large multicultural states become empires in a sense, but what is more interesting is how they act. Imperialism is what these big states do when they exert their will internationally, and isolationism is when these states exert their will locally. I believe the best way to achieve liberation from all the oppressions discussed is with a liberal empire. The reasons I support empires are follows. They are the most powerful institutions man has ever created toward reaching a common goal. They are multicultural and can take the useful elements from any culture and leave out the bad. And the centralization of the empire, along with its monopoly on violence, allow it to be easily targeted if it starts to get oppressive. Now, some people listening might rightfully be thinking, don't empires cause a lot of oppression themselves? And of course, the answer is yes. Empires are simply a tool.
People are saying that you're skipping. Is he skipping for you?
Not at
No,
all.
I can hear him.
Testing.
Yeah, it's fine for us. I'm so sorry to interrupt you on that. But
Oh, sorry.
all right, I guess just continue.
All right. Empires are simply tools that humans naturally form as political entities cross into diverse areas. These tools can be used for good or bad, so if we are going to use the tool of empire, how do we do so justly? The way to do that is to make the empire liberal and democratic. Liberalism is to be valued for the following reasons. It allows diverse populations to have individual freedom and not be oppressed into conformity. It allows the will of the people to literally be expressed through a democratic process. And liberalism is a limiting framework of government from which stem some of the issues of imperialism. A liberal empire almost seems like an oxymoron, but it is in this paradoxical idea that we can find an ideal. The forces of liberalism and empire should be opposed to each other because freedom and security are opposed to each other, and yet we all want both. These forces are always in constant flux, and you can never have total security or total freedom, so our governing institutions should be put in a state to balance these two values. This is where checks and balances come in to mitigate the empire. Separation of powers, constitutions protecting human rights, and representative democracy ensure the empire honors our human rights. The only rights that we have are the ones that we fight for. What makes something right or wrong is irrelevant to actually having those rights. I believe that everyone on this planet deserves the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I don't see any of my brothers and sisters in Zimbabwe or Kazakhstan or Hong Kong or Seattle as having a barrier between them. I see all these individuals deserving the same rights that I do, and I'm willing to fight for these rights. The best tool that we do have to fight for this liberation is the empire. Empires aren't going anywhere. Today we have a liberal empire and a totalitarian dictatorship in China. Both of these empires have committed horrible atrocities to secure their power, and yet both have done amazing things as well. America conquered a continent, ended slavery, and liberated Europe and East Asia after World War II. China has ruled over its territory for thousands of years, has the greatest public works in the world, and has increased the quality of living so much that they went from a backwater to a superpower in less than a century. The question we have to face going forward into the future is which of these models will win out? Will the chaotic democracy of America win out with our ability to respect rule of law, the will of the people, and individual liberties? Or will it be the competent but brutal dictatorship of China as it disregards the liberties of its citizens for an increase in material conditions for those that conform? To be completely honest, I don't know who will win out. This is truly the competition between freedom and slavery. America is the last revolution standing. Haiti was beat to a pulp, the Soviets collapsed under their own incompetence and rigidity, and China does not even concern itself with democracy or human rights. America is the last bastion of liberalism that can fight for rights around the globe. To be fair, we have focused on economics over human rights in recent decades, and I abhor those actions. If there was a better state position to promote human rights, I would support that. If Switzerland wanted to invade us, provide everyone healthcare, and free all the nonviolent drug offenders, I would not oppose that. But alas, the Swiss canton systems do not seem to be poised to be the global system of organization. My goal for the future is that we extend the rights we all hold dear to each other throughout the planet. I dream of a day where the distinction between citizen and foreigner does not determine your claim to human rights. The best way to do that is to dissolve the distinction into one unified state. I believe to get there, we need a one world liberal empire with checks and balances and a limiting constitution. This is, to be fair, a far off and lofty goal. This would take generations and centuries and a vast change in our material conditions. While this is the ideal I see today, there are real steps I say America should take first to get there. We should provide universal healthcare to all of our citizens. We should close down Guantanamo Bay and trial the prisoners as U.S. citizens. And we should rebuild our crumbling infrastructure for our first steps towards empire. Brothers and sisters, comrades and companions, I say no matter where you find yourselves, fight, fight, fight for your liberation. While you may need to bear arms to fight this oppression, the strongest shots we can take today are often with cameras, not Kalashnikovs. So I say arm yourselves with whatever means necessary to fight the good fight and make sure that the fight is recorded and sent out to the billions of people worldwide so the just can unite with you to liberate you from your oppressors. And that's my opening statement there.
All right, thank you. Oz.
First, I'd like to say it's interesting that my opponent here seems to have unironically either, I don't know if you had invented it yourself or it's a new trend, but I actually predicted that there's going to be a new form of fascism that emerges in the United States, which is going to combine the disillusioned Bernie people with the neoconservatives. So AOC plus John Bolton. And that's actually the future of American fascism in this country. So I want to congratulate my opponent for actually unironically adopting this as some kind of internet ideology. I find it very fascinating and interesting. But anyway, to give my opening statement on the question, before we can talk about this silly idea of a liberal empire, and by the way, I'm not necessarily saying liberal empires are impossible. I think there is an example in history of a real existing liberal empire. Actually, there's two examples, one of which is the notorious bloodthirsty pirates of the British Empire, which was probably responsible for more of genocide, slavery, and slaughter of mankind than any other empire in the history of humanity. And the other one, which also has a similar track record to its predecessor, the British Empire, was Nazi Germany, another liberal empire, as I would call it. Actually, I think I would pretty much define fascism as this paradoxical unity of words, liberal empire. Fascism is precisely liberalism's emergency crisis, where it can no longer tolerate the strict formal mechanisms of liberal government. It has to engage in this extra liberal so-called empire in order to sustain liberalism, right? It requires this contradiction to preserve it. But even moving beyond this silly idea of a so-called liberal empire, I think we only need to look at the following facts to immediately dismiss the notion that somehow liberalism can be spread by force by one nation against other nations. And it is the fact there has never been a successful or minimally harmonious, multicultural, or even multiracial liberal society in the history of humanity. And the reason for that is because there is no possibility for the recognition of positive human realities in a liberal government. I'll preface what I mean by that. Liberal governments recognize abstractions like individual rights and liberties and human rights, but nowhere in liberal government can they afford a specific positive recognition of determinate national reality, specific cultures, specific history, specific traditions. Liberalism is purely an abstract negative universality that takes all of these things for granted. The minute a government recognizes a specific nation or a specific culture or a specific group, it is necessarily extra liberal. It's moving beyond the mere liberal recognition of equality, which is an abstract and completely negative notion that doesn't actually account for the positive realities, and it moves toward a post-liberal type of society. This is why the only societies today which actually can manage multiple ethnicities and nationalities within a single polity and government are post-liberal, illiberal societies. Russia's an example of that. Russia's not the rule of the Russian nation state and everyone else being somehow completely oppressed. Russia is a multi-ethnic and civilization and always has been. The same is true for China. So it stands to question whether a liberal government can recognize other nations as even existing in the first place. It's not that I think your liberal empire is just going to oppress people. The so-called liberal government can't even recognize nationality, culture, and civilization as a positive reality in the first place. So while you think you may be just giving people equal rights and you're liberating the world, you are presupposing many things that are unique to your specific American cultural and national background that you take for granted, but which other people can feel. It's sort of like it's sort of like getting unwanted attention from like a smelly, sweaty, fat guy behind your back. He may not know what he smells like and, how he's breathing, but you sure as hell can, detect that. And the same thing I think would be true for your so-called liberal empire. Your liberal empire would be a fat, sweaty, unwanted, creepy guy who's claiming to liberate some kind of woman. Oh, let me liberate you. But she can smell him specifically. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's not some kind of abstract force of liberation. It's a specific nation. It's a specific country that's attempting to impose itself on others, whether it acknowledges that fact or not. You can say, oh, yeah, we're not privileging the specific American national realities and imposing that on other people. But that's actually the reality of what you're doing. That's why, that's the very paradox of liberalism. The paradox of liberalism is that it thinks it's a form of government that can premise its own real material conditions. Liberalism imagines certain formal premises and conditions, but it doesn't actually account for the real ones that actually do exist in reality, regardless of what you want it to be or what you think it is, right? So I think it's a complete absurdity what you're saying, so-called liberal empire. But at best, if I want to be very, very charitable to you, I think you would be an excellent intellectual for the future disillusioned DSA, Hassan, and Bernie people. I think they would get on board with what you're saying. I think most American leftists actually, whether they want to admit it right now or not, pretty much completely agree with you. That you are, if I'm being generous to you, but I think you represent the future of the American left.
Okay, we can open up the floor.
Okay, well, all right. So I just want to go over a few of the things that you said in there, and then we can, I guess, have it back and forth there. I do understand why you said fascism there, except fascism is like a negation of liberalism, and
No.
I want to promote liberalism. The fact that, well, let me just say a few things that we can go back and forth. So there are key differences there. But regardless of if we call it fascism or liberalism, I care about the actual policy. So I'm not too worried about the actual name that we put on that. So I'm not really concerned about that.
Yeah, but
in terms of
you have to acknowledge my point that this isn't just about policy; it's about the actual material reality.
Yeah, well, I don't think you made a good point. I don't think that it's no. Well, so specifically, the reason why it's not is because I actually care about the human rights for the meaning of the state. I don't care about the state.
Wait,
and
what is human rights? What is
itself.
that? What is human rights? That's something
so the main human rights that I care.
formally contrived.
Oh no,
by
no,
the
no,
state.
it's very concrete.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so the human rights that I care about,
Yeah.
mainly are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Okay.
Just to put it in
What does that
American
mean?
context. So yeah, so life means that because of your station of birth, you're not going to be determined if you get life or not. Like, so you can't be killed by the state. So freedom from genocide, and then also basically that you have freedom of speech. So that's liberty right there. That you can actually participate in your government.
So hold on. Let me address the first one. So you're going to be free from genocide, which means, let's say you have the example of the Korean War, the Vietnam War. Oh, the U.S. isn't engaging in genocide against these people because
I didn't say the U.S. didn't ever do genocide.
Hold on. Well, I'm giving you an example of how states can commit genocide while maintaining the pretension to liberal universalism. The U.S. did engage in a type of genocidal war against Koreans and against Vietnamese, but it disguised this, oh, we're not doing it because they're Vietnamese. We're doing it because they're supporting this nefarious ideology that's opposed to liberalism. So under the banner of defending liberalism, you can, in fact, in material reality, be a genocide doesn't even work primarily in the form of like, we don't like this group because of where they were born or what their ethnicity is, we're going to eliminate them. It has to do with when you have concrete civilizational differences. And you can recognize that it's because of civilizational differences or not. But the very unwillingness for Americans like yourself to recognize that America is just another country is what actually leads to things like real genocide. It doesn't matter if you are saying it's because of where they were born or not.
So what you're talking about isn't really an argument because communist, regimes, Marxist-Leninist regimes, they can also do genocide. Somebody calling themselves something doesn't mean that they're upholding their values. Obviously, that's
okay, but hold on.
Let me finish.
But Marxist,
please let me go. Please, can you just let me talk?
Successful in ameliorating national differences between different.
Can you let me talk? I haven't even been able to get that one point yet.
Okay, this is gonna be fun.
All right, Mr. Haas.
All right, so one at a time. Ooh, okay, Fuzzy, why don't you say what it is you were gonna say, and then how's up?
Yeah, so regardless of what somebody calls themselves, they can commit atrocities, regardless of what they do. The reason why I promote liberalism is because the ideas in liberalism are that you should be liberated from certain oppressions. One of the oppression is other people trying to put you down because of either your race, your ethnicity, or where you're from. I believe that your birth should not determine how you live, and that is a central tenet of liberalism and stuff. And I'm not necessarily against, just let you know, like Marxist thought or certain ideas of socialism or anything. I'm not like necessarily against that. So I'm not saying that to attack Marxism. I'm just saying that people can use any ideology as a front and then do atrocities. I'm not for the Vietnam War. Something I said in my opening statement, I think that America, especially since the end of the Second World War, we have gone out not to promote our liberal values, but we have gone out just in search of money. We've gone out just to promote capitalism and to fight against communism instead of letting democratically elected leaders take over in places where they might want to try out socialist
Look, I don't think you actually understand what's being said here. I don't think you want to commit atrocities and you want to engage in genocide. Ideally, that's not what you want. What I'm asking you is, how is it in practice can your liberal ideology, and I'm not talking about what you want to happen, but based on the material reality, how can you prevent or how can you avoid this kind of atrocities and genocide? I know it's not what you want. I'm just saying it's an inevitable result of attempting to be a crusader for your ideology and you're ignoring the concrete material and civilizational differences between different peoples, right? Different people.
Well, the civilizational differences don't matter. Like the right side.
Hold on. So there you go. You just said it. You just underpinned why I call liberalism inherently
I don't
genocidal.
think that some ethnicities.
Exactly.
I don't think some ethnicities.
Shut the fuck up. I let you talk. Shut the fuck up.
Wait, yeah, let everyone finish.
Listen,
I'll put on my mic so I don't.
You just made my point for me. You just said civilizational differences don't matter. Congratulations. You arrived at why I call liberalism an inherently genocidal ideology. If you don't recognize these civilizational differences, you're going to overstep the bounds of your specific civilization and impose it on others. This is inherently a form of and this will inevitably lead to some kind of genocide. When you see that despite constantly imposing yourself on others, that they're still resisting it for some deeply embedded reason, this is often the reason for why genocides happen in history. It's not simply that people have this ideal of wanting to commit genocide. It happens as a result of not being able to respect the reality of civilizational differences.
So the reason why I said civilizational differences don't matter is because the government that I'm talking about for like a worldwide empire isn't a worldwide empire that does everything for everyone. It's not the China of the world that is in everybody's life. I would want a limited government that would barely do a few things. Number one is give people freedom of speech, and number two is really stop genocide. And then if we can do those two things, then I want people to be able.
Who's going to enforce that?
Have some type of democratic
Who's going to enforce
government.
that? From what center?
Right now America. So right now, America is the best position to do that. I don't care if it's America. If we could have a federalized UN that would go out and do things, because the reason why I said civilizational differences don't matter is because I don't see different ethnicities having a different right to prevent genocide or to have women go to school or to, have freedom of speech to be able to say what you want.
I don't think you know what the word right means.
That's a huge problem.
You don't know what the word right means. So something called rights.
Okay.
Yeah, rights are bestowed by states. States have material civilizational.
Yeah, I said that.
Hey, shut the fuck up. Rights are based in the state. States have civilizational and material realities, which means states are contingent, therefore rights are contingent. Whether you want to recognize, I don't think certain ethnicities should have more rights. So hey, buddy, you're putting the cart before the horse. Before anyone has to give a shit about what you think about which ethnicities, whether ethnicities should be given a pass or not, you have to interpolate those different ethnicities under one common state in the first place. And it's getting there where you can subsume everyone under a common state that has something to say about everyone's rights. That's the problem here. I'm accusing your fantasy of trying to subsume the entire world into one kind of state, one dispenser of rights, as an inherently genocidal fantasy. Whether you recognize it would inevitably lead to genocide or not is completely irrelevant. It is a fundamentally genocidal ideology.
Well, who would I want to kill because of their station of birth? Because that isn't anything that I've said at all, which is what genocidal is.
Hey. You have not even fucking picked up. You haven't even been paying attention to this entire debate. I literally said, You probably don't want any genocide.
No,
You
I
probably
understand,
don't want
but you didn't
to
answer my
kill anyone.
question.
But can you understand that this is, I'm arguing at least, whether you agree with it or not, that this is a fundamentally inevitable byproduct of this ideology you have?
Well, I'm saying that you're
It's
wrong
not
because
that you want to
well,
kill people. It's that it's an inevitable byproduct of trying
the
to
only people-
impose a universal liberal state in a world with various civilizational, national, etc. differences.
So the great thing about the United States is that we have the system of states where we have different states that
Don't
have different
use our
that they have different
broken country
sovereignties
on the
that they can
verge
do.
of civil
So
war
can,
as
can
an
I please
example
finish?
Finish.
for
Can I
the
please
entire
finish?
fucking world.
Go
Can
ahead.
I please finish? Can I please finish?
Go ahead, Juan.
So right now we have a collection of states that we have, and ideally I'd like to see that throughout the world. I'd like to see a United States of Earth. Obviously that's a lofty goal. We probably won't get there. The closest we could get is like a federalized UN. But the reason I want that is I want a limited top-down government that says, hey, there's these few human rights that you have to respect. If you do that, then in your own states, then you can do all your other type of sovereign stuff. So that's like the type of system that I'm arguing for. And nowhere in there am I saying that anybody, because of how they are born, should be killed at all. If you want to say that some people should get violence against them because of how the actions that they take, we can talk about those actions, but that's a separate thing. That's not genocidal.
So let me get this straight. You're using the United States, a country that was founded on genocide, as an example for how you're going to create a universal state for the whole world. You're using the United States,
every single empire has
which
been
is
genocidal.
whose racial divisions in this country are so fucking deeply embedded and such a source of civil unrest and political antagonism that it make the rest of the world looks on in awe at the fact. You're using the United States as an example of how you're going to ameliorate civilizational differences when we can't even ameliorate the smallest bullshit racial cultural differences here. I don't even know if you can say white America and black America are different civilizations, but the United States is so poorly equipped with dealing with differences between peoples, cultural differences between peoples, that to this very day, it's a source of such intense antagonism and conflict. You're using that as an example of how you're going to deal with the whole fucking world? That's a joke, dude.
Yeah, of course. So the reason why I'm using that is because it allows for that sovereignty under a more federalized framework. And in that you have access to change what you want on a state. So you have to, so on that you would actually be able to change what you want for state. This isn't like a one day thing that we're just going to take over. I don't think the whole world is ready for that. However, I think America is actually really good at bringing cultures together. The idea that white and black America are two separate cultures is like a ridiculous thing. If anything, white culture in America wants to be black culture because of the how positive of influence black American culture has had. But regardless of that, we actually see really well how our system is working. If you just look at the Kyle Rittenhouse case, he was tried in a court, and then the rule of law, whether you agree with it or not, the rule of law went out there. It wasn't like in China, where if he was arrested, it would come down to, does this help the party? Is the party going to win out here? Because that's how the legal system works over there. Where here we actually have the rule of law, and we still have people flooding our borders trying to come in here because we have this shining hill of a civilization.
No, it's not.
Perfect.
It's because
it's not. Well, real quick. Well, let me just. I just have one more. I just have one more sentence.
Finish.
It's not perfect. It's not perfect. We have a lot of issues, but that's why in my opening statement, the three things that I said that we should do had nothing to do with international expansion. The ideas that I have to do for our empire are rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure, give everybody universal health care, close down Guantanamo Bay. It's not about going out and exporting everything right away. Ideally, I would want to be a good example so other people want to join us. I don't want to go out and forcibly put this on. I want to be a good example that other people want to be.
Okay, so there's about three things, right? First of all, the idea that Kyle Rittenhouse or whatever is an example of the profound rule of law, the fact that that was so sensationalized in the first place and has been such a source of huge strife and unrest says how much our so-called rule of law is able to attend to these antagonisms and these realities. Second, the idea that immigrants come here because of our shining pillars, whatever the fuck you're saying, is the biggest crock of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. People come here because our country is wealthier and you can have a better standard of living by coming to live here. That's why immigrants go to Europe. That's why immigrants go to wealthier countries than the countries they're from. It's not because of our shining beacon of democracy, what the fuck you're saying. Second of all, you're talking about how the United States is going to fix itself, prove itself as an example, make itself appetizing for other countries in the world to join, I guess, as the 51st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th state. Mm-hmm. But again, you're putting the cart before the horse. Before you can even think of that, you have to address the following facts. One, you have to address the current political antagonism within the United States. I think you're fundamentally incapable of doing that. Two, you have to draw out the wealth of actual material and not arbitrary moral interests that exist in the United States for why we would want these various different countries to join our specific polity. 4, you have to address the fact that even if other countries see the United States as a shining example that they want to live by for their future, and that's not, we're living in fantasy land right now because that's not what's going on. Why would they ever want to give up their sovereignty? People have spilled blood for their sovereignty. People put their sovereignty even before being able to eat, even before being able to live, right? Sovereignty and dignity are fundamentally, and national pride. These are fundamental facts of human life. Why would people want to give up their sovereignty and submit and obey the authority of a completely different civilization and a completely different people? That just seems incredibly implausible. But if your idea is basically that we're not going to become an empire that invades other countries and forces ourselves upon them, and that this process is going to happen as a gradual result of countries just voluntarily deciding to join the United States, the question stands. Why should anyone care about this hypothetical scenario that probably won't ever fucking happen? What relevance does it actually have? You're saying that countries are going to be knocking on our doorstep to become states of this country. Well, first of all, the people of this country are going to have a problem with that. The people of this country already have issues with immigration from Mexico, a country that's like right on our border, right? How are you going to deal with all these problems and antagonisms and civilizational and cultural differences between peoples? What you're saying sounds like a complete joke to me.
So yeah, it's very evident from the way that you're talking that you haven't actually thought about a lot of these things too much. You just kind of every thought that comes in your head, you're trying to attach it to a lot of things, which is why you're kind of rambling on it. So the reason why I was talking about the civilizational differences not mattering is because we have, as we progress forward, we have to give up these ideas of our national civilizations. Just like
those aren't just ideas.
Can I please talk?
Let
I just
him
let you
finish.
talk for a long time, dude. Come on. So the ideas of the civilization, just like the ideas of the tribe, have fallen away from us as we've gotten rid of those. The ideas as we progress forward of the nation state need to slowly drip away. We need to come more together in a more of a humanist ideal, so that way we can unite on a planetary ideal. The reason we need to do this is because we need to be able to muster our resources to be able to do the most that we want. And another thing you said, why would people want to join the state? The main reason that people would want to join the state is because we would want to make ourselves more attractive. And if we're making ourselves more attractive, I would also want other states to do this as well. I would want them to have the same mindset to make themselves as good as they can, so that way they could say, hey, if you're so good, be part of our country. And then if we all get so good and we all don't want to be part of different countries, then we can come together in unions. I think that the EU is a really good experiment to see, are we going to have federalization with the US, or are we going to have confederation with the EU being what promotes liberalism going forward? It seems like the US is stronger right now, but that remains to be seen in the future. At the end of the day, though, regardless of either of these things, if China is the one that can prevent more genocide with their authoritarian rule by having the top-down approach, then I would be okay with that. If they can actually make people's material conditions better, if they can stop genociding the Uyghurs, if they can, stop trying to dominate the people from Hong Kong and Taiwan, then yeah, I'd be okay with that. If they can give everybody liberal values, I don't want the Chinese government to fall or topple just because it's not democratic and liberal. I want it to get closer to what we are. And if we can take some of their ideas from competence and we can come together in a global union, that's what I would advocate for.
So first of all, the guy goes, he says, you say, the national realities and civilizational realities, yeah, those are ideas. They're merely ideas that we can swap out and replace, right? No, dude, they're not just ideas. They're rooted in fundamentally material realities, civilizational memory. They're unconscious realities. These are not ideas, and the reason they're not ideas is because the actual content of specific ideas don't really matter. Civilizational realities, cultural realities, national realities, these are things that assert themselves just through form, which means they assert themselves symptomally, regardless of what the ideal is. Take, for example, the experience of communism. Communism was probably the biggest example of a universalizing abstract ideology or whatever. But they had to, at least at a certain point, acknowledge, yes, there are fundamentally embedded real material national and civilizational realities that don't appear to be reducible to any specific ideology. There's something more fundamental, more unconscious, more subconscious that can't be reduced to some kind of doctrine or some kind of prejudice. So your bullshit John Lennon kumbaya thing of like, oh, we're all going to come together and abandon our tribalism and abandon our national realities. This is the complete liberal delusion and stupidity that I don't even think needs to be even addressed. On face value, you just tell this to people and they're going to be like, yeah, you're a fucking idiot if you think that. Right? Second of all,
No, not right.
Second of all, yeah, shut the fuck up. Actually, yeah. And then you said we have to make ourselves more attractive to other countries. I wonder if that involves putting a fucking ugly soul patch on our chin. But anyway, you said something like the EU is a prime example of. It's a really good example. Dude, the EU is fucking ruled by German. It's ruled by German banks. It's completely dominated by France and Germany. And there's a colonialism of the EU on the southern European countries that is an intense source of fucking antagonism. The EU is probably not going to exist in 10 years, as a matter of fact. The EU has been such a fucking catastrophe in being able to respond to issues such as anti-immigrant populism, general nationalistic sentiment, and right-wing populism. The fact that you bring it up as an example for the entire fucking world is the biggest joke I've ever fucking heard. Now, yeah.
Great argument, man.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I'm not saying that we shouldn't care about civilizational differences or cultural differences. The way that I would address these things is on a geographic basis. I think that when you have people that live together in certain areas, that's really what determines it. And I would want those areas to be states under my system. I want for the empire, real quick. They would have different areas of sovereignty
into a scenario where you're already a state that has sovereignty over them.
Okay. Wait, so what's your question? Are you asking how we're going to respect
differences?
How are you
going to build a state in spite of these civilizational differences? How will it be built?
Well, so right now states already exist everywhere across the globe. There are states.
You want to build
so the question is how do we organize these states? So right now we actually do have a universal.
How are you going to build a liberal empire that is going to have sovereignty that overrides the sovereignty of these states that already exist?
So right now we are already starting to work on that. We have the UN right now, which is a weak version of that. The UN is not an
example of that.
Okay, are you going to do you if you don't care about what I'm saying, then you can go and just jerk off with yourself. You know what I mean?
Gonna cry?
Am I gonna cry? I don't think I'm gonna cry at all. I don't know what you're talking about, man. I'm having fun with this.
Take a sip of your.
This is actually rum, but hey, if you want to have a big boy drink, you can.
Take another sip.
Do you pee out your butt?
Hey, take another sip from your sippy cup.
So do you? Let me ask you a question.
You look like a wish Kyle Kalinske, little bitch.
Based.
Shit to me.
So question. I have a question for you. I don't. This is a lot of fun. So the question is, do you think that we either should or will ever, no matter how long in the future, ever have a fully planetary or human civilization?
Absolutely.
Do you think that's ever possible?
Absolutely doubt it.
And do you think we shouldn't have that? It would be
withering away of the state before that ever happens.
So is he still
withering away of the state entirely is more plausible.
Did I lose you guys?
Than a planetary
fucking still here.
State.
We're still here. Can you see us, Flosny? Are you okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry. I got glitched out there for a second. Okay, so I think that we actually can get to that point. I think that we're going to get to that point as material conditions change. Yeah. I don't think we're there yet. I think that we need to do a lot more.
Why to be able to get there? And what do we have to do?
So I think that the way we have to do it is actually very reminiscent of what we did with the EU. The way that started is it started with coal. Can I please answer your question? Can I please answer your question before you start asking me another one? Jesus Christ, dude. So the way that the EU started was they had coal and steel manufacturers from two nations that were fighting each other, or multiple nations that were fighting each other, come together and intersect economically. So we should do that with a lot of other countries. America's already done this to a large extent with China. I don't think that China should be taken down or anything, or that we should try to impose everything over China. I think that we should work with China because China is the next biggest force that can do anything in the world. So I think that China and the United States should try to work together to accomplish similar goals.
Keep rambling.
Well, you asked me a question. I answered your question.
Yeah, you didn't answer shit. When I interrupted you, that's when you should have shut the fuck up because you didn't say anything.
Dude, you're not posturing very confidently or strong. You're just showing that you don't know how to argue.
No.
So you're just trying to yell.
You're wasting my fucking time. You just
You
use
don't
the
have any
EU
time
as
to
an
waste.
example, and you have
You don't have a
Twitch.
girlfriend to go home to. You don't have anything
Shut the
special to
fuck
do.
up, bitch.
This is all that you do.
You have fucking Funko Pops and a fucking Squirtle in your background.
I don't have a
fucking
Funko Pop. That's just a
bitch.
that's
Shut
just
the
a
fuck
Squirtle.
up,
Yeah.
you goddamn soy
Yeah, what's
nerd.
wrong with my Squirtle?
You're literally the
Soy
example of
nerd,
America's
base.
civilizational decline incarnated in a fucking
Hell yeah.
person.
Let's do
so
it.
shut your fucking
Let's do
mouth,
it.
little boy, and let's get
Let's
to the
do
meat
it.
and potatoes.
I'm not a little boy,
You
right?
just,
I'm a man
you
with
are
kids
a
and
little
everything.
fucking boy. Why don't you grow a beard that connects?
Does that make
we'll
you
see if
feel
you a little
big?
boy.
Does that
grow
make
a beard
you
that
feel
fucking
big?
connects then, huh? Fucking ugly,
I like it like this. I
ugly
shave
fucking
this like
pubic
this.
hair
I
soul
enjoy
patch on
it.
your fucking chin. Shut the
It's
fuck up.
not a soul patch. It's a goatee.
Anyway,
You don't
getting
even
to
know the right
point,
thing.
Getting to the
It's
fucking
a
point.
goatee.
Getting to the
Thank
fucking
you.
point.
Thank you.
Getting to
That'd
the
be nice.
fucking
That'd be
point.
nice.
Shut the fuck
That'd be nice.
up. You just
Oh,
used
let's
the
go.
fucking
Go.
EU as an example, but to this fucking day, the EU is not able to address the developmental needs and differences between different states within it. Southern European countries don't have their own independent fucking industries, and it is the inherent striving of nations and countries to have their own independent industries and their own independent economic and industrial basis. The EU has been proved a complete fucking catastrophe. I wouldn't even say that because it was never intended for that for the start. It's a neo-colonial institution that colonizes Southern Europe with debt, turns them into fucking debt colonies for German banks. You're using that as a fucking example of how you're going to ameliorate the economic differences between China and the US of all countries? You can't even fucking do it in Europe between fucking former Yugoslavia and Germany and Southern Europe and Italy and Greece. These small countries. You're going to take China, a country with 1.4 billion people, and you're going to have the United States. On the other hand, you're going to say, we're going to just have the EU as our model institution for how to integrate these two countries. What a complete fucking joke, dude. You don't know shit about fucking geopolitics or the fucking current world or how the world works today.
I think it's really funny that like you've you don't understand my argument at all because you haven't listened to it. Because I don't actually think you disagree with it too much. Like if you listen to it based on some other things I've heard you say. But the idea that everybody wants to be economically and industrial independent is not true.
Yes,
we don't
it
need to
is.
do that. It's actually
Yes, it
way
is.
better. It's actually way better. It's actually way better if we specialize in certain things and then we trade. And if we're working together
That has
across
nothing to do
borders
with
across
having an
things.
independent
That means-
industry.
Real
or
quick,
an
let me finish.
independent
Please let me
economic
finish.
base.
I just let you ramble, dude. Can I please finish?
You didn't-
Can I
you're
please finish my
rambling
thing?
now. You're
Can
the
I
one
can I
who's
please
fucking
finish it?
rambling
Okay.
this entire
So-
time. Shut the
Can I-
fuck
can I
up about
please finish?
rambling.
Can I, guys? Can I
finish.
please, guys? Can I please
Go ahead.
finish my argument here? Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the reason why it's good that if we don't just have our own industrial bases and if we mix it up with different countries is because that way we share our culture with each other. So that way we have less of these divisions with each other, and we share a trade and industry with each other. So that way our militaries are linked to each other, so we can't fight each other. So like all these things are good at preventing war and making sure that we all cooperate together in more of a humane
Wasting
manner.
fucking time.
That's
Just
what I want to do.
completely
And if you
wasting
don't
time.
want that things, that's cool.
It's not about what you want or what you don't want. It's about the fucking reality. And here's the actual reality we're dealing with on the fucking ground here. Different countries do want to be
Back up from your
industrial and economically independent,
from your mic.
regardless of what they're fucking actually specializing in. Germany specializes in cars. Other countries specialize in different things, but those type of countries have in common an independent industrial manufacturing and economic base. That is what drives the politics of almost every single country in this world, is which person is promising to get better jobs for the population, which presupposes industrial economic independence. Now, obviously, the world is economically interdependent. There's no way around that. But there is a stark division between export countries and import countries. Import countries buy the goods of other countries, thereby creating trade imbalances which benefit the exporting countries. And importing countries are flooded with cheap goods that decimate local industries and decimate the ways of lives and jobs of the people in those countries. That alone is like such a simple condensation of like the most fundamental economic antagonism that exists across countries and within countries. It's what drives local politics. Politicians respond to this by promising to return jobs or promising to revive the economy. Most of them are lying, but it proves that it is the fundamental striving of each nation and each country to build up some measure of an economic foundation unique to that country. Without economic sovereignty, you don't even have political sovereignty.
So I agree that economics are important, but I don't think it has to be industrial. The idea that industrial jobs are the good jobs isn't true, especially into this era. It's one of Marx's biggest blind spots. It's that he looks at the world seeing it very industrial, and then we've come.
What's
an
industry? Define
digital age. Can I please go? You said industrial. If you just mean industries, then that's a different question. I'm sorry if I mistook that. The second part I wanted to go though. A lot of the issues that you talked about with the trade imbalance isn't necessarily an issue, but you did point on a few issues that come from it. The TPP, one of these organizations that actually brings countries together, which is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about more institutions to bring countries together all in a common banner. That would actually alleviate some of the issues that you're talking about. So my ideas of like spreading, the reason why I bite the bullet of imperialism isn't because I want to go out and conquer a whole bunch of territories. It's because I have ideas that I want to spread worldwide because I think genocide's bad for everyone. I think freedom of speech is good for everyone. And I think that people's material conditions should be improved.
Yeah,
so
if only material reality was...
Let me just finish. I'm almost there. What I really care about is global cooperation to make sure that we can do that for the most amount of people.
Yeah, if only material reality and how reality works was based on what you want and what you don't want. There has been no leader in the history of humanity, maybe besides the Nazis, who like directly said, yes, we want to do bad shit and just have bad shit happen. Bad shit is the result of good people saying they want to do good things, and the bad shit's a byproduct. You haven't even come close to remotely addressing, and this is the first point I'm making, how you're going to avoid the same bad shit that liberal empires in the past have done. How are you going to avoid that? Saying that you don't want them to happen isn't fucking convincing enough. Nobody says they want them to happen. Now, second of all, you said another stupid fucking thing, which was, oh, it's industries are outdated today, especially in this day and age. Please, I'm going to ask you to impress you upon that. How exactly are fucking industries outdated today because of the unique circumstances of the era? Industries, what do you even think an industry is in the first place, first of all? Maybe we have to get to the bottom of that first. Now, you're also saying that trade imbalances don't matter, even though it's the fundamental driving source of the conflict between the United States and China up to this day. It's the very source of China's rise in comparison to the United States. It's why Donald Trump became a thing in the first place in the United States. You haven't even made a single fucking argument this entire debate, let alone that fucking rambling spiel you went on before I started talking. So why don't you actually get to the meat and potatoes instead of talking about, oh, I want this to happen, I want that to happen. Can you at least prove how it's going to happen or that it can happen? Nobody cares about your stupid fucking LARPing scenario, which is just as real as the fucking Pokemon in the back of your fucking room. It has nothing to do with reality.
It is a lot of fun because like instead of like arguing, it's just like the name calling and it's just like going back and forth.
You are a bitch. You are a bitch.
And all this stuff before
you are a bitch.
So and exactly then beautiful.
You are a
right
bitch.
On cue. So one of the things that I would do to alleviate some of the stuff you said, a lot of liberal empires have gone out to do this. They've done some of these good things, but they've also done terrible atrocities in the wake. They're automatically genocidal. I don't necessarily disagree with you. That has happened. I'm with you. The way that we stop that mainly is with transparency. What we've seen, you can see Harvard studies on this. Nonviolent protest has actually been much more successful than violent protest since the end of the
what does it have to do with the atrocities?
There's a lot of reasons for that, but what it has to do with the atrocities is that I believe we should have transparency for things. If you listen to my opening statement, I said that
what does that have to do with protest? Who's we? The government?
The strongest weapon that you're going to have is your camera, not your Kalashnikov. So like that, we
that
need
doesn't
to be able to
stop
record
atrocities.
People accountable. Well, it does in America. Like,
no, it doesn't.
Accountable for shit all the time.
Yes, peaceful protest didn't stop the fucking British from the Bengal famine in India. It didn't stop fucking the British from committing atrocities. Why do you think peaceful protest is going to stop atrocities?
Well, first off, peaceful
protest and also here's why you're fucking stupid here. You're laying the burden on the people now and not the government. You're speaking on behalf of a potential government. And yet you're talking about how the people should just be peaceful. But dude, you're the one who's the government. You can't fucking go, hey, all you people who have problems, you should just peacefully protest. But your position of moral agency and responsibility has as its foundation the government. You're not speaking on behalf of the people. You're speaking as the government, the so-called government of the liberal empire. Your response to the question about how are you going to prevent genocides and atrocities like other liberal empires in the past have is saying, hey, it was the people's fault that those fucking... You're going to blame the people for that
that's
shit?
A great straw. Are you farming?
Are
you farming? Because that's a really good straw man. You could take that out to the farm with you. That's such a good straw man. Like you could really...
clarify what you mean by peaceful protest. Clarify what you mean by peaceful protest.
So you didn't listen. You're not listening. Okay. So you're not listening. So the main reason why I want this liberal empire is so that people can have freedom of speech. So that's what the government does on their side. They give people the freedom of speech. If people have freedom of speech, then they can actually be transparent, record these things, and make sure that these atrocities get addressed by the government, and that way people stop it. The only way that something's going to stop in a democracy is if the people.
That does not stop atrocities.
That's why the people have to be let. It's the only way to. There's no other way to stop it that you have. Like there isn't a way that you have. Do you? I
am calling your fantasy inherently genocidal. I am calling your fantasy inherently
but you
genocidal.
haven't provided any evidence for that at all.
Yeah, because the only real existing
and you just yell.
Yeah, but the only real existing liberal empires that have existed in history have been what? The British Empire, the United States in the 20th century, and today. And I would argue Nazi Germany. You probably wouldn't agree with that. Those were all genocidal empires. But those were all genocidal. None of these empires were liberal. None of these empires were liberal. The British. You're saying the hold on. Wait. You're saying the British Empire was not a liberal empire.
No, the British Empire was just a capitalist.
Where do you think liberalism originated? You fucking idiot. Where do you think liberalism came from? You fucking illiterate, stupid fuck. You don't know anything about history. You're literally a dumbass. You're literally a dumb fuck.
Do you think that when when Britain took over? Do you think that when Britain took over the East India Trade Company for that when they took that over, they just gave everybody human rights and they made them all citizens?
Bro, that's what I'm talking about. When has liberalism ever been defined by human rights? Human rights is a fucking concept.
When we stopped the Civil War, when we stopped the Nazis.
No, human rights had nothing to do with that. There was not even the fucking vernacular of human rights. Human rights. No, human rights. The fucking phrase "human rights" only started to be used in the American unipolar era of neoliberalism after the 1970s. Before then,
that's not true. Human rights started with like Thomas Paine. You're way off.
Okay. When did the specific phrase "human rights"? Right? When is the Human Rights Charter founded?
Well, the Human Rights Charter is separate from the actual phrase.
When was it founded? When was the Human Rights Charter founded? I don't have the exact
date. You can look up the exact founding.
But I thought you're a smart guy who knows things.
Obviously, post World War II.
Obviously, so why are you bringing up the fucking Civil War and Thomas Paine, you dumb fuck?
What? You are so lost. You're not even here for the argument, are you? You just wanted to ramble and
yell. All you've done this whole time is meta-narrativize like a fucking bitch instead of address any substantive point I brought up. All you've done is meta-narrativize the fucking debate, which proves you fucking lost, by the way.
I've literally answered all your questions.
No, you fucking haven't. You haven't answered the question of how you address the discrepancy between ideals and material reality. You haven't addressed the question of how you can use the EU as an example. You haven't addressed the question of how you can use the United States as a fucking example. You haven't addressed the question of whether civilizational differences are material or solely based on ideas, as you said. You haven't addressed a single fucking thing I've said this entire time. All you've done is meta-narrativize and fucking ramble and talk fast about a whole lot of fucking nothing.
I would really suggest you to re-listen to this debate because I literally answered all of those questions that you had. And I brought up examples.
Okay, we'll see in the post-debate poll. We'll see how people vote in the poll. Okay, we'll see because I don't think I have to rewatch anything.
Why is so much of the debate just in your personal identity?
Why is so much of it? Because you're a fucking time. Because you are a time. You are a time-wasting midwit. That's why you're a time-wasting midwit.
Okay, let me ask.
So it's all posturing.
Let me ask a question.
Oh, it's very hard to hear you. I don't know if you want to turn up your volume or something, but it's very hard to hear you.
Okay, me? Can you hear me, Flosny?
I mean, yeah, but it's just really quiet, especially when they're both fucking yelling.
Yeah, I'm going to ask one of the questions that wasn't answered to Flosny. How were industries outdated? He did ask you that question. I don't think we got an answer to, so maybe you can answer that.
Yeah, so it's not that industries are outdated because industries applies to it's every part of the economy. I thought he was talking about just the industrial workforce that we're talking about.
Which means what?
We don't have as much of an industrial workforce today.
What's the industrial workforce? What are you referring to by industrial?
People that are working in like heavy industry. People that are working.
You think heavy industries are outdated?
If we're talking about a complete economic analysis, yes, we should talk about.
Wait, you think we've moved past the need?
Much more
so countries have moved past the need for independent heavy industries.
It's not that we've moved past it. It's that we have so much more going on in our economy. It's that if you just look at the economy and an industrial focus, you're going to lose a lot of it.
Like what?
I literally just went over this.
What do we have more going? What do we have going on? What more do we have going on? That's way more.
I already answered. I literally just.
You didn't answer. You never fucking answered it. What more do we have going on besides the heavy industries that outweighs the heavy industries?
Well, we've completely expanded our service industry, and the digital industry that we have is completely.
Oh, service
usurped a
and
lot of
digital.
the
What is
economic value.
digital? What do both of those things rely upon still?
So they both rely upon computers, which have to be physically made, but the amount of income that they get isn't mainly from their industry, isn't from their material.
You're talking about government printed. You're talking about government.
It's mainly from their intellectual.
Yeah,
property.
you're talking about government fiat, which isn't a fucking measure of the real economy of our countries whatsoever.
You don't even know what fiat means. You can't even talk. You don't know what fiat means.
Wait, I don't know what fiat means.
Gold is a fiat currency.
Hold on, I don't know what fiat means.
You're not prepared. You're not prepared for this conversation.
Explain how I don't know what fiat means.
Gold is a fiat currency too. You don't know what it means because you're not going to
be able to defend
why is it a problem? It's a fiat.
Yeah.
Why is it a problem?
Colloquially, by fiat, most people mean when the Federal Reserve prints money that's not backed by a hard currency.
Why is that an issue?
Because it's not a measure of the real economy.
Why do you think it's not a measure of the real economy?
Because Biden just printed like trillions of dollars last year, and the real economy hasn't actually grown.
Do you want to know why they print that money? They don't just print that
money. I didn't ask you why. I explained to you why it's not a measure of the real economy.
No, you don't understand why. You have no idea why.
It's not a. Stop telling me. Hey, soy boy. Hey, soy. Don't tell me what I don't know. Why don't you make an argument? Why don't you make a fucking argument? Why don't you actually make a fucking argument instead of saying what I know and don't know? Make a fucking argument. Make a fucking argument.
Unconscionable.
Todd,
So
really
a
hard
lot
to
of
hear
fun.
you when they're yelling. Like you need to fix your mic or something because this kind of you're not gonna be able to compete with them. Yeah. So that was fun. All right. Something about soy milk. What was happening?
I like all.
Yeah, I asked him to make an argument. All he says is, "You don't know anything about this. Prove it."
No, I already. You didn't listen to any of the arguments I made because you wanted to respond.
You didn't make a single fucking argument the whole time.
You just want to posture.
All you did was
all
bluff.
you care about is posturing.
You're a bluffer.
All you care about.
You're a bluffer.
All you care.
You said I don't know what any of fiat or any of this means, and
yeah,
you asked me,
you weren't able to provide why it's a problem.
Why doesn't government credit that's not backed by a real currency measure the real economy? And I explained it to you, and then you went, well, why do they?
No,
print
you
the
didn't
money?
explain it.
Yes, I did explain it to you.
No, you didn't, because you don't understand why they do that.
How do you know? How do you know? Prove I don't understand. Prove I don't understand.
Well, because you proved with your lack of answering the question. But
question?
one of the main reasons.
Prove I didn't answer the question.
One of the main reasons that we actually expand our money supply is because our population is continually increasing. If we don't expand
the population's always been increasing, you dumbass. The population's always been increasing.
Yes, and that's why we need more money, because deflation is a really
But we only started, we only got rid of the fucking gold standard in the 70s, you dumb fuck. The population has been expanding well before
I know.
that,
and the current dollar is based on the petrodollar. It's not based on nothing. You have no idea.
It's based on the petrodollar, but not formally speaking, it's not.
Oh my god, yeah, you don't.
And if you want to know what's going on with the price of oil, okay, listen, the petrodollar is not a real.
I don't care. You don't understand economics. You don't
Prove
understand
it!
economics. It's
Fucking prove it! You're just bluffing! The petrodollar doesn't fucking measure the real economy because the fucking fake economy has been going up, the green line has been fucking going up, and the real economy has actually been stagnating, you dumb fuck! It's that fucking simple!
You didn't say anything. You didn't address anything with actually the issue of
You're just bluffing! Prove it! Prove it! Methodically prove it! Get to the meat and potatoes!
So So the issue is that you're actually not even talking about meat and potatoes. You're not even talking about gravy. Like
all you're saying is you're not saying anything. No, you're not saying anything, Flosny. You're not saying.
Well, because I've actually explained it, and you don't want to listen.
You didn't say anything.
You don't want to listen.
You're not saying anything.
Do you want to listen if I say anything?
Right now, you just said nothing. You just said.
Are you going to listen if I say something? Or are you
You just said nothing right now. You just said nothing. You just said nothing.
Cool.
You just said nothing. You didn't say cool. You just said nothing. You just said nothing.
So all right.
No. You just said nothing. You didn't even say anything right now.
Questions.
You didn't even say anything right now.
I think we're down for questions.
No, I don't know. I can't hear you. You didn't even say anything right now. You didn't say anything right now. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
That sounds better. That sounds better, Todd. We can go into the Oh, you guys are fun. All right, so Justin fired, by the way.
Fucking great replacement. Being
Justin
replaced.
Fired. All right, so let's see. We had a super chat from Can Back. Wait, why am I hearing myself echo? Can back on Discord? I don't know. Serious and unironic question for Flosny: is he gay? I'm still hearing myself echo.
I am not gay. No.
Flosny, mute yourself and see what happens. Testing. Hello. Nope, it's not you. Todd?
I still hear it.
Todd, are you?
Of course, I'm muted. I stay muted.
Hello. Oz, are you the guilty one?
No, I'm still here.
No.
Haas, mute it real quick.
Okay, wait,
There's a
mute yourself
feedback.
really quick. It might be the echo. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, Haas is the guilty one. All right, let's go. From Headhunter. Where does Haas land on the political spectrum?
I would say internationally, I would be considered left, but in the United States, left and right are not really meaningful distinctions, I don't think, right now. So, some people, I would probably just be a centrist here in the United States. I'm not really part of the American left, I don't think.
I agree with Haas on that. The left and right are not a meaningful distinction in America. We have a point of agreement.
Have you ever done one of the political compass tests?
Yeah, I didn't do a compass test. I just took a quick test and I skimmed through it and it just gave me Marxist-Leninist.
Did it?
Yeah.
All right. So, and then we have from We Need Critical Thinking. Question for later. Who did Flosny vote for? And does he consider himself a hypocrite?
No, I don't consider myself a hypocrite. I voted for Biden, even though he's not perfect. I mean, Trump was the other option, so.
Okay. Let me see the ones that are coming in now. From Informationists. Britt, can you ask Flosny how the Marxist dialectic process is enhancing the liberal neo-Marxist conditions of the working class in the Sarin context of Descartes? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay. John Smith for Infrared. If you yell at a child, will they hear you better?
This is for the audience, to be honest. I don't really care what this guy thinks.
Okay. Let me see what else we got. Okay, wait. From Audio Freak. Tell Flosny I said thank you. When he mentioned almond milk, I remembered to put my milk away. Okay. All right. I'm not seeing a whole of the questions because we were having to do a lot more since our moderator decided to bail on us.
Fucking Justin.
Yeah, from Tucker Wilson. Question for Haas. Can you please elaborate to Flosny that England fucking invented liberalism?
I think if somebody is so illiterate that they don't actually know that, I don't think they're in a position to be on the internet showing their face and debating anyone about anything. Simple as that.
Yeah, so just real quick, I don't think that the idea modern liberalism didn't start in UK. I'm not disputing that, but I don't think that they gave their that they were using their liberal ideas when they were enslaving the Bengalese or the Indians and everything.
Of course, liberalism has never been tried.
Okay, cool one, good one.
From the other
So
Carl. The other Carl is the one who actually requested this debate. For Haas, will America collapse or secede in your opinion?
I don't know what that exactly means, but I could just say yes. I don't know what you have in mind for that, but I do think we are headed for a political crisis that, in all likelihood, is going to radically transform the United States of America as we know it.
Oh, the other Carl and Haas have made up. That's cool.
Yeah, I heard you guys had a fun little debate, huh, Haas?
Yeah.
Got feisty, apparently. All right, so from WTFHAH, okay. Does Flosny believe in labor aristocracy?
I don't know what that is. I'd have to read up on it.
Okay, let's see if there's anything else I can pull up. We're using
on that question that Haas got though. I don't think that we're anywhere close to seceding or breaking up or balkanizing.
It wasn't for you, so no one cares.
From what I understand about,
it wasn't for you.
She wants
the
to give
the question wasn't for you.
Brittany, is that all right if I answer that question just real quick? Thank you. So right now we're nothing like the Balkans. It seemed like they were much more invested in their local institutions for governance, and in America we seem to be much more interested in our federal institutions for government for whatever reason. So I think it's very unlikely.
Okay. Question for both. What should be the primary issue contention to focus on as we approach 2022?
It depends who we are, but for me, it's building a third party, specifically paying attention to the People's Party. I tell my people to join the Communist Party USA, but that's because I ultimately believe the Communist Party should be trailing, and joining in with the People's Party as a popular front. So it's about building the People's Party, and that's a party that I think doesn't necessarily have to be one ideology. You can people from all over the political spectrum should be getting behind the People's Party, and that's what I think.
So I don't think that I think third parties are really, really silly in the United States, mainly because our primary system has hijacked them. I wish that we had more options for third parties, and I think that our primary issue should really always be to try to dismantle the primary structure, to dismantle the corporation of the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National Committee. Those two institutions hold so much power over our institution, over our elections. I think that disbanding those should be the main thing. Other than that, though, universal healthcare.
Yeah, so it turns out, who would have known for all his talk, he's just a Democrat.
Okay.
I mean, I vote for who's going to win. Who I have a chance with. Voting is an individual act. Voting is a communal act.
All that complex shit.
Voting is so
amounts,
together we
it
accomplish
all
something.
amounts to something very simple. Vote for Biden, guys. It's all simple as that.
Oh, wow. Beautiful straw man again. Beautiful.
All right. So from the other Carl for Flosny, why is Biden's approval rating so low right now? Voters are
there's 1,000 reasons. I think that Biden isn't a very strong candidate or president himself. I think he's done pretty good legislation with what he's had to work with. But we also have a system that gets you gridlock if you don't have a strong majority in Congress with your party. So because of that, we don't have a strong majority, and we're in this gridlock right now. So part of it's just the political stagnation because not enough people actually came out to vote for Democrats to put them in power. So so Biden can really flex his dick. But since we're left where we are, it makes sense that we're going to be in this predicament.
All right, thank you for the super chat, Zoltan. As said, Frederick Liss mostly made the argument that free trade was a form of economic control by American or the UK to enforce its hegemony. What would you say about this?
Which one's that for?
I don't know.
Do you want to take that one, Haas, or do you want me to take that?
It's 100% true. We know from history, for example, that the UK was pushing the free trade system against Lincoln's protectionism around the Civil War because the development of an independent manufacturing and industrial base in the United States would compete with and hurt British industry. So the British were promoting free trade around the world in order to flood countries with their cheap goods. The Opium Wars was a great example of a liberal empire in action. It forced China to liberalize so that the British could sell their drugs to China. So, yes, absolutely.
I agree with your analysis there.
Okay. All right. So from person, will Flosny be satisfied when the liberal world empire is providing the USA all the Pokemon wants? 100% slavery free. I never read these before I actually read them, and I kind of and I'll hear the person who is reading faster than me laughing because they know what the end is coming. All right, go ahead. What do you want to know?
Yeah, if Pokemon are really cool, if we could have them, that'd be cool. But it's kind of slavery. But they're also kind of digital things. So maybe it's just an algorithm. I don't know.
What you have in your background or something? Is that like a Pokemon?
Yeah, that one there. That's my that Squirtle right there. That's my girlfriend's favorite Pokemon. So yeah, got it right behind me.
All right.
Guys, did you hear he had a girlfriend? Just so we're clear.
Yeah, I have 2 kids as well.
Yeah. Everyone needs to know that. So in case no one heard it, just reminding you.
Let's see here. What's on up? From Google Show, ask Haas why he rejects his ancestors by advocating their communism and not glorious Baathism. What is that?
I don't. My family comes from Lebanon, so and the Baath in Lebanon were mainly the Sunni, right? So I come from a Shia background. So actually, it's not my tribal affiliation.
Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Hold on, we might be almost caught up. I don't know. We have so many different programs now going. Let's see if there's anything on Odyssey.
Yo, well, shout out to Haas for that shout out you gave us. We are allies, brother. Thank you. Even though I don't agree with your politics, thank you for the shout out, homie.
Absolutely,
nice.
No problem.
Somebody sent that to us, and that was so nice. All right, thank you for the super chat, Zoltan. Dragon Ball Z is better than Pokemon nerds. Okay.
I like Dragon Ball Z too. That's cool.
Okay. So let me see what else we have. Might be okay. Wait. Did I already? Okay. Again, from the other Carl. For Flosny, did you ever see that South Park episode that made fun of Pokemon?
Yeah, I think when they were indoctrinating all the kids and everything, that was really funny. They were making the Americans feel good for having the big penis. It was really funny. It was really funny. I love South Park. Good show.
Zen Shapiro, I'm not reading that comment, and you behave. Okay, so what else?
You
do
can
we
read
have?
it if you want.
No, I'm not reading it.
If Zen wants to be creeping on me now.
No, we're not gonna do that. He's being bad. Let me see. If
I don't mind it at all. You know me. I'm here for
Yeah,
all
no,
the spicy
no.
takes.
It's literally the one thing you also said. Like,
Oh, okay.
I made a thing where like I'm not gonna read super chats if they're talking about people's families and stuff anymore. I did that to Destiny and I probably shouldn't have. But I know he probably doesn't care, but it is probably something I shouldn't be doing. So keep it to people that can defend themselves. But Flosny was somebody who said he doesn't care if you do that. I just don't want to I want to start you guys on a habit.
Yeah, this chat's not the chat to do that in. So yeah.
So I don't care what you guys write in the chat. I'm just not going to read it on screen, basically. I think we might be caught up. I think. I mean, if you guys want to go into closing statements and fast, I mean, this is a quick debate, I guess. How long were we here? Only an hour. Oh wait, what is this?
I guess I went first, so I'll go second for that.
Sure.
Whatever.
Go ahead.
My closing statement is
I'll go
that
second for that.
this was not really a debate in my view. It was more like basically someone with the mind of a child, talking very fast about things over which they have absolutely zero grasp and zero knowledge. It stands to this very minute. He did not address one substantive point or rebuttal or challenge I gave to what he said. All he did is bluff about my level of knowledge of things without even being able to prove it or demonstrate it in any capacity. But I will say, as a closing remark, on this mentality, on this question of liberal empire, I want people to keep an eye on this mutation we see with these disillusioned Bernie supporters, the direction that they're going to, which is the advocacy for a kind of outright liberal dictatorship overriding American democracy. I think, as we've seen, the left in America is extremely unpopular. Their best bet, as of now, is to align themselves with Silicon Valley, deep state, and the military-industrial complex to impose their so-called ideals on the population. And that is what I actually foresee. I foresee a unity between AOC and the neoconservative wing of the Republican Party. So, Flosny, I would like to just denigrate him as a complete clown, because after all, he is a dumbass, granted. But I think almost as a comedy, as a happenstance, as a coincidence, he managed to, as a dumbass, stumble his way into a position that I do think is going to have somewhat of some measure of currency in the future. Probably not on the terms he foresees it and he envisions it. There's a lot of dumb people who forward their unique, eclectic ideologies, because these are Discord debate Andys who are never actually pressed on their positions in any scenario besides impressing 14-year-olds on the internet. But just on its face value, the rise of this liberal dictatorship fantasy, that's something to keep an eye on.
All right, go ahead, Floss.
All right. So I really couldn't be more pleased with that closing statement from Haas. I think it really just shows his lack of engagement with the ideas that we talked about here. I did a lot of research for this, a lot of different empires throughout history, whether it's China, whether it's the Roman Empire, whether it's what America or Britain's doing now. We really didn't get a chance to talk about that. We didn't get to talk about the fact that we are unifying more and more globally, and that is a trend that's going to continue into the future. If we do become, a real spacefaring species, then the idea of having an earthly communal civilization is only going to become that more apparent. And I think that is our natural trajectory. Not just because of that, but because of all the unions that we do see building up now. The main narrative that we have throughout history is of people trying to fight off their oppression by working together in bigger cooperatives to fight off that oppression. And I'd see the empire just as an extension of that biggest cooperative. So Haas has really just reduced himself to nothing but ad hominems this whole debate, really. I thought we were really going to be able to talk about the issues, but I didn't really expect much from somebody who's 5'9" who doesn't understand that you can't pee out your butt. So this is where we are. Liberal imperialism wins again.
Is Elon Musk going to take us to space?
And
is it Elon?
So much, Brittany and Todd.
Is it Elon Musk going to take us to space?
No, I think that'll probably be the liberal empire.
So hold on, what's the pee out of the butt thing? You said that twice. What is that in reference to?
I have an idea.
What was what thing? I'm sorry, you broke up for a second.
What's the pee out of the butt thing in reference to? Is that something your girlfriend talks about, or?
Well, it was a question that you asked because you don't understand that women have 3 holes below.
Oh,
the waist,
you mean
that's
like
all right.
you mean
It's
the
fine.
you mean the rhetorical question?
No. I mean like you're even more pathetic than I thought. Wow. Okay. Well, it was fun.
Wait. Does your girlfriend talk to you about how many holes she has? Do you watch her pee or something, or?
Well, typically, like I can finger in her pussy while she squirts in my mouth, so I can see the 2 holes. So.
Oh,
you know,
she
it's
pees
pretty
on
obvious.
you. Saying she pees on you?
Well, she squirts. She squirts. I like squirting. I think it's pretty
So
hot.
your girlfriend pees on your face, is what you're saying?
You're giving
Well, I
Squirtle
prefer
a whole
wait,
new
you
name.
didn't true. Didn't you say one time that you didn't like to make girls come, or you didn't want to make girls come unless it was to make other girls brag about it? Isn't
Yes,
that what
and
you said?
I stand by that.
Oh my god. Oh man, I feel so bad for you, man. I really do, man. I hope that you find some confidence, man. However
You're not supposed to drink pee. I hope you know that. So I hope you spit it out.
Okay, Haas. Hey, listen, man. I like when girls squirt. If you've never made a girl squirt, then
You're
I
talking
promise there's a
about
whole new
pee,
world out
right?
there for you, buddy.
I mean pee.
I'm talking about squirting. If you don't know that there's a difference, I mean that's on you, man. I
But
mean,
you
obviously
just-
never made a
you
girl
just-
squirt.
no,
Oh my
you're
god,
not-
this is so
Yeah,
bad.
but you're talking.
Do you realize you're not making yourself look good because you don't understand women? Like, I love when women squirt. It's awesome.
Hold on, but you're
you can
talking
make a
about
girl
pee.
squirt.
You're
Like, it's
talking
really
about,
sad you've
you're
never
talking
done
about urine right now. Talking about urine.
It's not your. It's not just urine, my dude. There's a lot of stuff in there.
Okay, so
But yeah, I like when
So
girls
you-
squirt,
so
and I like
here's
to
what we
make girls
got.
squirt.
Here's what
I
we
do
got
like to
from
make
you.
girls squirt. You
you
got a dude that likes to make girls squirt.
You
That's what you got.
just
And I can
admitted-
make girls squirt. Unfortunately, you can't, but that's all right. You're trying to do an own. It's not going to work here because most people like when
Hold
girls
on,
squirt.
hold on. Let me ask you a genuine question.
Have fun.
Genuine question. I don't actually know your
What's up, buddy?
girlfriend, but if she got to know me,
What's up?
who do you think she would prefer between me and you?
Oh, she doesn't date guys under 6 foot, so you would not be.
Oh,
available
really?
To her. Sorry.
You sure about that?
True. 100%
Well, if
true,
if
yes.
well, okay. So are you actually confident in that?
She's not, yeah, she's not interested in guys that are under 6 foot because she's pretty
Okay.
tall. She's 5'10", so she likes to look up to a guy.
Yeah. How tall are you?
Like unironically, that's just her type. I'm 6 foot.
You're 6 foot.
I'm 6 foot tall.
So you're 2 inches taller than her.
Yep.
So when she wears high
Yeah, she's
heels,
fucking
you're
right.
so when she wears high heels, you're the beta, basically.
I missed a super.
Is this really? Aren't you 5'9"? Like, isn't that like
Yeah.
how tall you are? And like, you
Yeah,
want to
but
talk
you're-
about
you're-
height?
You're saying she
Wha-
prefers.
Oh, yeah, we got a late super chat.
You're saying
Yeah.
she prefers men who are taller than her, and when she wears high heels, you're not taller than her.
Well, no. Actually, that's not what I said. You have a real problem with
You
listening.
said- you
I
said
she prefers men
she-
over 6 foot. I said she prefers men
because
over 6
because
foot.
you,
You didn't
she
listen.
wants them to. She wants to be able to have them look down on her, but you can't do that when she's wearing high heels.
Nope, I didn't say look down on her. You really don't listen well. I
Yeah,
said
you
look
did.
up to me.
You
not
did
look down
actually
on
say
her.
that.
No, you don't understand. There's a difference there.
Yeah.
What was the new?
So hold
super
on,
chat
hold on,
that we
hold on.
had?
Are you
We can
going to
talk more
Twitch?
about
Are
my
you going to
girlfriend if you
TwitchCon? Because I want to actually see if you're confident.
I'm not going.
So do
to
you
TwitchCon,
think you're
unfortunately, no.
you're 6 foot?
I don't
Do you,
even
do
have
you
a
think
Twitch
that
yet.
in real life you would impose a presence upon me next to me?
Dude? Is this the way that you think? Do you think like about like going up to men, like imposing a present? Like,
Yeah. Would you have
What
a
is this
presence? Would
weird
you have a
toxic
presence
masculinity?
amidst me? Would you like stand out?
I promise I would not be concerned with you at all if we were at a place together. Like you wouldn't
You
even
wouldn't?
phase me.
Okay.
I
But
would.
but
I
here's
wouldn't
what
pay
I
attention to
think.
you. I don't.
But here's what I think. I think your
Wow.
girlfriend would.
Okay, I promise you, she's not interested in 5'9" short dudes.
Well, she can decide that.
She won't be interested in you, but okay.
Well, we'll see if she decides.
You won't see. She's not interested. I don't know
I think
what
she
you're
could
trying-
speak
like,
for
this-
herself,
Do you
Flosny.
think it's
Flosny, she
good?
could speak for
Not
herself.
really.
This guy has
Flosny,
been drinking
Flosny.
too much
Yeah, she
urine.
can
She
speak
could
for
speak
herself,
for
and she
herself.
doesn't like guys under 6 foot. So I don't know why
Okay,
you keep trying to do
well,
this.
well, she
she's
can.
not into the type of dude that you are.
Flosny, she's not your property. She can speak for herself.
She isn't my property. No, she can speak for herself, but I'm not going to a TwitchCon. I'm definitely not ever going to hang out with you. Like, I don't want to hang out with you, dude. I'm sorry. You're
Well,
not cool.
I
But
just think
like, you just seem really
I just
insecure.
think you're trying to.
You just seem really insecure.
I just think you're trying to control your girlfriend a little too much.
Okay.
We have a new
Okay,
super
if
chat
that's
that
what you
came
think.
in, and I think it's for both parties, right, Brittany? You're muted, woman.
Yo.
Damn it, every fucking time.
Every time, as you should
Every
be. Go ahead.
time. So annoying. All right, so Jan Breed said,
To both speakers, what aspect of the U.S. system could be exported when the U.S. people do not themselves enjoy any stability? Where is the thing that is worth copying outside the U.S.? Thank you for the super chat, by the way.
Well, I think our rule of law is like really, really strong. That's why we see with the Rittenhouse that it wasn't done along political lines. It wasn't like, you know, Xi Jinping just comes down and say, hey, this is going to hurt the China Communist Party, so we're going to go one way or another with it. So I think our rule of law is really good. That's a lot of stability, which is why people come here, because they want that stable economy that they can make money in. But we have a lot of work to do. I mean, we don't have universal healthcare. Like we don't even guarantee our people internet access or housing. So I think that we should.
Can you talk about China's legal
really
system, since you're an expert on it? Talk about China's legal system and its rule of law.
What was that?
Since you're an expert on China's legal system, can you prove you have any knowledge?
I didn't say I'm an expert. I didn't say I'm an.
But you know about how the rule of law works in China, right?
Well, I know, I know that the rule of law is always subservient to the Communist Party in China, and that's why they're on all the human rights violations. One other thing, if anybody looks out, real quick, I would just say if anybody like wants to know like more about like what China does, the Uyghur Human Rights Project is a really good resource.
Yeah,
everybody should
nice
look into.
CIA bullshit. Nice CIA bullshit. Do you
okay?
Do you think that the rule of law in the United States trumps the national security interests of the deep state?
Do I think that the rule of law in the United States trumps the...
It's not subservient.
Well, I don't think
you
that
don't think it's subservient to anything?
Do I think that the rule... well, it can be subservient in certain instances, but what we've seen in practice is that it doesn't tend to be subservient.
Because if you go to law school, you'll learn that there is no real rule of law.
My degree was actually in pre-law.
You were in pre-law, my degree was actually in pre-law. Well,
we actually have one of the most... We actually have one of the most stable... We have one of the most stable legal systems around the world. That's
but we don't, in practice, actually have a rule of law.
No, yes, we do. No, we have a very strong rule of law. Yes, we do.
Judges rule not based on some airtight formal rule of law, but very much on pathological public
whoever said
bullshit.
No, nobody said that rule of law was airtight. You're not even making any sense.
For you to say that in China it's subservient to the interests of the party, it's the same thing in the United States, except we lie about it.
No, it's not at all. No, it's not at all. It's not even close to that. Really? Well, then how come Trump wasn't able to try Hillary? Why wasn't Trump able to try Hillary for anything, but Xi Jinping can put any of his political opponents away?
Because he found them guilty of breaking the laws of China for corruption. Are you denying that?
No, because he found them guilty of corruption, which is institutionalized in the way that the Chinese government works.
Really? So do you know the level of corruption in the party before and after Xi Jinping? Xi Jinping clamped down on corruption so severely that it's not even comparable anymore. You don't think there was an Are you denying
that's one of the things that he says, but that's not actually true.
Can you prove it? Any statistics or data?
If you want to have another debate all about China's human rights violations, we can talk about that.
No, I want to talk about the anti-corruption campaign, which you saying wasn't a real thing.
If you want to have a debate about like the levels of corruption in China, we can set up.
So the anti-corruption campaign was just Xi consolidating power. It wasn't actually about corruption. If I have you correctly.
No, it wasn't just Xi.
Do I have you correctly?
It wasn't just about Xi. No, there were multiple reasons I went into. If you want to have a whole debate on China, we can do a whole debate on China.
Okay, so you're conceding. Surrender accepted. Your girlfriend's watching. By the way,
this is really interesting because this is your whole thing. Exactly, this is your whole thing.
Yeah.
You're focused just on like the way that it presents and the way that like
surrender accepted.
You don't actually care. You don't actually.
Hey, when you submitted,
you keep trying to interrupt.
Beta.
You keep trying to interrupt because you know that you're a beta and you don't actually have an argument.
Listen,
when you don't actually have a way to
when you submitted, listen.
Try to insert yourself.
When you listen, when you
I can be like Daddy, stop.
When you submitted to your alpha, your girlfriend saw that. Your girlfriend saw it. Your girlfriend saw you submit to me. Your girlfriend saw you submit to me. She's watching. She saw you submit to me. I'm the alpha. You're the beta. Your girlfriend saw it. Your girlfriend saw it.
Why are you so concerned? Why are you so concerned with this alpha beta dynamic? Like, are you really that?
Your girlfriend's concerned with it. I guarantee you, your girlfriend's concerned with it.
It's nature, Flosny.
I promise you, she's not.
I guarantee you, she's concerned with it. Flosny.
I guess you just know, man.
I do know.
I guess you just know, kid. You just know everything,
Flosny. I've cucked dudes before. Of course,
you won't even be able to make her squirt. What can you do for her?
Wait, what was that?
You won't be able to cuck me. You're not man enough.
Flosny, I have actually taken.
You are not man enough.
I have been with girls who had boyfriends. I know betas when I see them, and you were a beta.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You've been with a girlfriend with a boyfriend. Oh my God. Listen, dude.
And you seem like the boyfriend to me. You seem like the boyfriend. You remind me of the boyfriend.
It's so weird. You have to posture your masculinity instead of like having an argument on the subject. It's very weird to me.
But you're the one who kept bringing up your
Like,
girlfriend.
it
She notices your beta behavior.
What are you talking about?
Trust me, she can tell. Trust me, she can tell. Trust me.
You again, you keep bringing it up.
Trust me, she can tell.
A dude who can't make a girl squirt.
Trust me, she can tell. Trust me, she can tell. And you didn't talk about squirt. You talked about pee. You weren't talking about squirt. You were talking about pee.
Oh, tell me the difference between pee and squirt, Haas. What's the difference?
But you were talking about pee. You mentioned pee in the beginning.
What's the difference between pee and
I
squirt?
asked you if you watch your girlfriend pee, and you said yes.
What's the difference between pee and squirt?
Okay, we can roll back the clip.
What's the difference between pee and squirt?
We can
roll
back.
What's the difference between pee and squirt? Tell me.
Squirt only has a certain.
What's the difference between pee and squirt?
Squirt only has a certain percentage of pee. It does have a percentage of pee though.
Okay, so then I said she squirted on my face. I didn't say she peed on my face. So I don't know what you're talking about. But good one. Good one.
Yeah, but you did say pee. You did say pee.
Good attempt.
You did say pee.
No. Dude,
I guess we'll let the video tell.
Yeah, you did say pee.
Do you care about the arguments?
I asked you if I asked you.
Do you care about any of the arguments?
I asked you. You're the one who keeps bringing up Squirtle.
And you just care about posturing.
Hey, you're the one who keeps bringing up your Pokemon Squirtle. But anyway, listen. You brought up your Pokemon Squirtle.
I know we talked.
Listen.
We were actually talking about China.
R. Kelly.
R.
Kelly. Listen, R. Kelly.
You deflected.
R. Kelly.
Because
Listen.
you couldn't actually talk about China.
R. Kelly.
That's actually what
R. Kelly. Listen. R. Kelly. Listen. Just make sure she's of age.
Well, she's older than me, so.
Okay, R. Kelly, because you do have a track record.
So
I believe I could fly. I believe I could touch the sky. You okay, Flosny?
So,
the question for Haas.
It broke up for a second.
A social conservative.
What's that?
Question for Haas. Does he consider himself a social conservative?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
And then I don't even know how to say that, but now I get it. Squirtle. Okay. We are okay, guys. We are going to be having our pop on drink and chat right after this. I'm going to do a new stream for it, so we'll get that going, and we'll talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff. What were your thoughts on that, Haas?
I think it's being used to divide people. Although I don't really have an issue with the verdict at all. But I do think it's people who are over invested in it on either side are being whipped up into a whole bunch of nothing. But that's just my view.
Divide and conquer tactics.
Yeah.
I am definitely in support of it. I mean, it was clearly self-defense by like every single thing, and I'm really happy that in America that if you defend yourself with a firearm, that you don't just get thrown in jail with it. Somebody said bring Flosny to the Zerkos Royale. I'm down. Tell Zerka to have me on. I'll jump on there. Let's do it.
Oh my goodness. All right. So I guess we can probably shut this one down, and we will start a new stream in a little bit. Probably about we'll probably do it before the 20 minutes. But thank you guys both for coming on. The poll is up in our community section, so you guys can go vote on who you think won. And we will be back in a few for our pop on drink and chat. So
all right. Thanks for having me on, guys. Bye bye.
Thanks, bro.
See you later.
All right. Good night, guys.
Thanks, Oz.
Thanks, Flosny.
Anytime. That was a lot of fun.
Okay, let me put this back here. Turn on my camera. Properties. That guy was so fucking annoying, dude. What is wrong with my fucking camera now, huh? Oh. Exit out. Now what's wrong with it, man? Deactivate, activate. Damn, bro. That dude was fucking annoying. I was not in the mood, guys. I was not in the mood today. I was not in the mood dealing with that bullshit. I was not in the mood dealing with that bullshit. I mean, I really wanted like Confederation. All these fucking Discord people who just fucking have these like all-encompassing, totalizing
Peace.
fucking visions are all fucking so annoying. Thank you so much, Janar. I appreciate you. Lado, thank you so much. Appreciate you a ton, Lado. Thank you. So, guys, did you know the Communist Party responded to me? How now? Should we react to it? Let's go on the Reddit first. I'm gonna grab myself protein. And God, I just came back from a wedding, guys. I just came back from a fucking wedding. And let's play some music.
Heartbeat speeding, wind is blowing feelings. Time is flying to keep you far, but I don't care.
Baby, drive me there tonight. I wanna ride through the city lights, forgetting what we had in mind, living like we're never gonna die. Baby, drive me there tonight. I wanna ride through the city lights, forgetting what
So,
we
guys,
had in mind.
I spent today working out. I went to a wedding. And I was so tired the whole time. I was fucking exhausted. And I gotta go trim my beard at a barber. And I gotta tan. I'm gonna go to a tanning salon, pretty sure. I'm gonna tell y'all what. I'm gonna clean up. I'm gonna clean up good. You understand? I'm gonna get a haircut. I'm gonna trim my beard. I'm gonna whatever, clean up. I'm gonna be good. You know what I mean? I'm having a baby any day now? Should I go back to Bosnia and raise it? Depends on if you got money. If you got money to live in Bosnia, yes. If you don't, then don't. Do I work out every day? Yes.
Я была хорошей, а плохой я не была. И всю жизнь как паинька по правилам жила. Надоело плакать, надоело мне страдать. Все равно не выйдет свою смерть предугадать. Мама говорила мне, слушай саму уже.
We got a Durham operations banger. We got a Durham operations banger. Holy fuck, DJK! DJK, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Thank you so much, man.
Растекаются по всей стене твои мозги. Очень разозлилась на тебя, ты уж прости. Сотый раз во сне я наблюдаю твой конец. И не так уж страшно в самом деле умереть. Я была хорошей, а плохой я не была. И всю жизнь как паинька по правилам жила. Надоело.
Let's watch this Durham operations banger. Minecraft. Bro, fuck Minecraft.
Turn down the gain. Turn down the gain. I'll level your volume up. Turn the gain. The gain is in the front. The gain.
Calm down. What's going on?
He's using webcam mic, they're saying. You're using webcam mic, dude.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm trying to fucking fix it. God.
These dumbasses don't know anything. And so many of the fucking things that I heard from them, like the criticisms last night. Oh, this is one of the speakers. Academics, teachers, social workers, engineers, managers, nurses, and Netflix writers are not working class.
Oh, he's still talking about the general strike.
The academics side is like classic, okay? That's like classic fucking fascist posturing.
Classic fascist posturing according to Hassan. Classic fascist posturing according to Hassan. That's fascism according to Hassan. That's fascism.
Talking about like launching something that could literally put you in jail. People in the past who have tried to execute general strikes have gone to jail.
Do not ever think about a general strike. No, I'm totally not CIA. Don't even try to conceive of a general strike. Do not even consider a general strike. General strike, very scary, very, very much. No, stay away from a general strike.
American government will not allow you to organize something like that. They will literally kill you. They will throw you in fucking jail. They will do everything.
But you also have things where nurses are refusing vaccine mandates. And all of a sudden nurses suck then, right? So it's all based on which classes are more going to be able to be brainwashed and to be buying into their fucking ideology. I don't know if this is gonna be TOS. Infrared saying, we're saying, hey, McDonald's workers, guess what? You're a human being and you're an American. You don't deserve to fucking work these shitty jobs. Let's get some real jobs back to Americans. Let's cut the working day. Let's get some universal fucking income, and let's allow us to live dignified human lives and level this economic playing field. We are on the rise. We are riding as a horde. We're coming to take over and conquer the Communist Party USA.
They will literally kill you.
Fuck the DSA!
They will throw you in fucking jail.
Fuck! But you know that a general strike literally halts the entire economy? People are not buying and exchanging goods as they normally used to be anymore during a period of a national general strike. You don't go to the grocery store to buy your food because the fucking grocery workers are on strike too. So everything comes to a halt. You're not ordering Uber Eats and DoorDash during a general strike. It is something that fundamentally arrests and stops the economy and immediately creates a circumstance of political crisis that must be immediately addressed by the government. That's why they don't get prolonged.
Oh, this is a Germ operations video.
Oh, yeah!
The federal government fears the emergence of real class consciousness. I call upon all collectives to spread the sentiment of a general strike. This is a message to Hassan Piker. Expect us.
People in the past who have tried to execute general strikes have gone to jail, okay?
What the fuck did I fucking do to deserve this?
First. What? Okay, I'm gonna do laundry very quick. I'm gonna just put some clothes in the wash. I'm gonna just put some clothes in the wash. I'll be right back, guys. It's gonna take 2 seconds.
Как надоело мне страдать, все равно не выйдет свою смерть предугадать. Мама говорила мне, слушайся мужа, я непослушная, делаю хуже. Делаю не так, как наказывал папа, вместо звезды я падаю в гранату. Мама говорила мне, слушайся мужа, я непослушная, делаю хуже. Делаю не так, как наказывал папа, вместо звезды я падаю в гранату. Les yeux dans les yeux, tu oses enfin lui dire que c'est elle que tu veux et que tu la désires. T'as couru dans le froid comme un fou pour lui dire et t'as pas attendu des mois pour revenir. T'aimerais que ce soit vrai, t'aimerais que tout ça soit réel, t'aimerais que ce soit vrai, t'aimerais qu'un jour elle te rappelle, t'aimerais que ce soit vrai, t'aimerais que tout ça soit réel, t'aimerais que ce soit vrai.
What is this?
I do not remember joining any Facebook group that subscribes to that ideology.
What is this? What is this about? What is this?
Would never knowingly join any such group. There is no record of me ever actually.
Dude, that's it. I'm a Stalin.
What is this person? Who is this person? What is this scenario? She's from Soviet Kazakhstan. What is this about?
Stalinist now, straight up, dude. That's that. Oh my god. Reading this, I'm like, I'd purge that motherfucker. Gulag, straight up. I would send him and 7 gen.
He's accusing her of being a commie. Oh, economist person being nominated by Biden. She's questioned on being a Komsomol member. Wow! Oh. Is this based?
Generations of his family to Siberia. If I had a fucking crumb of power, this is why.
Who does Hassan want to purge?
I can't. I can never be in power. Oh my fucking god. I would send him and all of his family members to Siberia. Okay? I put him on the fucking train.
This is an empty power fantasy by a impotent Biden supporter. Oh, she's Trotskyist. Okay, I got it.
I'd send their ass over there, dude. Go work in the fucking mines. Holy
cute power fantasy, Hassan.
Holy fucking shit. He literally is just like still going. He's still like, oh, I don't know if I should call you comrade. Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna vet these videos now because they're sus, but we're gonna watch one more big brain thing. Okay, tomorrow we're gonna cover the Communist Party shit. You know what I mean? We'll come back. Remind me to come back to the subreddit tomorrow. I just want to watch funny videos tonight. Can we watch these funny videos? I don't have the energy tonight. I don't have the energy.
There's a question.
We're gonna watch. This guy's boring, man. Let's watch it. We'll give it a chance.
Had for a very long time.
If the donor's here, we'll watch this vid now. Whenever he gets here, we're gonna watch it.
And it has to do with this map. This is a map of the 18 states in the US where Democrats control the legislative and executive branches, or else have some veto-proof majority in the legislature. Democrats in DC often blame the
Channel 5 we'll watch tomorrow. Tonight's a late night stream, and we're just gonna...
GOP for foiling their progressive...
Listen, guys. Is this video gonna show January 6th? It always has to, right? Shut the fuck up and do not tell me what to watch. Shut the fuck up, you boring fuck. Do not tell me to watch Kings and Generals. I'm not a fucking nerd like you. I'm not watching history shit. I am fucking about to go to sleep thinking about that idea. It's so fucking boring to me. Do not fucking tell me what to watch. I already know what content I have lined up, and leave it at that. I know what I want to watch, and we're going to watch what I want to watch. You understand?
Vision.
When middle-class families see their taxes go up, they'll know Republicans are to blame.
But if you zoom into these 18 states, there's effectively no Republicans standing in the way. So my question is, what do Democrats actually do when
I used to hate this guy.
They have all the power? To answer this question, I teamed up with the Times editorial board writer Binya Applebaum.
Okay, you got my attention.
He's been thinking about and writing books about and reporting on this topic for decades.
I think, Americans tend to view politics as a competition of us versus them, and they tend to think that if they would just get out of the way, then we can do the things that we want to do. There is no them standing in the way. There's just the we of Democrats and their supporters, and they get to decide what policy should look like in those states, and that is an opportunity for them to implement their vision.
For this story, I also delved into this giant document. It is the 2020 Democratic Party platform. If you want to really understand what Democrats say they want.
All right, fine. This guy's, he's good looking, okay? He's got good hair, and he's got a good face, and I don't know why I hated him, but I still don't trust him. I still don't trust this fucking guy, you know? But he gets my approval. He can date one of my ex-girlfriends. But he can date the one I don't like.
What their vision is for America, it's found inside of this document. This document serves as a guide. As we zoom into these states to answer this question, what do Democrats really do when they have all the power?
Nearly 554,000 homeless people from the 25...
Oh, he spreads CIA propaganda? What an asshole.
wealthiest Americans shows they're
Never mind. Stay away from my ex-girlfriends, dude.
paying little in income taxes compared to their fortunes, sometimes nothing at all.
We cannot, in good faith, blame the Republican Party when House Democrats have a majority.
There's still very intense segregation happening in all kinds of forms all over this country.
Okay, so let's start with California. To me, California is like the quintessential liberal state. From the state legislature to the whole executive branch to most of the big cities, Dems hold majority control. So what do they do with all this power?
Looking at California, you have to look at housing.
Okay, now wait, listen. When I hear the words housing policy, I tend to sort of doze off. But Binya insists that housing policy and what is happening in California is definitely worth looking at.
You cannot say that you are against inequality in America unless you are willing
He's an ex-Mormon.
to have affordable housing built in your neighborhood.
I don't care that he's an ex-Mormon. I don't even know why the fuck that's relevant.
And Democrats completely agree. Here in this document, the word housing is mentioned over 100 times.
The neighborhood where you're born has a huge influence.
You know, Mormons are good looking because they have spiritual values and it just makes them look good
On the rest of your life. Children who are born in neighborhoods with degraded environmental conditions, with a lack of access to high quality public.
You know, I can hook up with Mormon girls. I don't know who the fuck told me this. I can hook up with Mormon girls, but what we do is that we just hook, like, she climbs on top of me or whatever, and someone jumps on the bed. I can't thrust myself, and she can't ride me, but the external environment can. Yeah, and it's completely fine. So I can hook up. Mormon girls are allowed to hook up with me. Mormon women are allowed to hook up with me. A Muslim man.
Services, poor schools, poor public transit are at a.
And there, let me tell you, Mormon girls, I'm going to tell you what. From what I've seen, they're doing something right.
Permanent disadvantage.
And they even say verbatim, housing in America should be stable, accessible, safe, healthy.
This is satanic. Come here, guys. I'm going to tell you a secret. If you have any relationship life that's not marrying the love of your life, you're having a satanic life. You understand? That's the truth.
Energy efficient, and above all, affordable.
Housing is a human right.
Housing is a human right.
The rent is going through the roof. Housing is a human.
There is one woman in my life who I would have married. But it didn't work out well. So what do you want me to do, guys? What do you want me to do?
Right.
How does California do when it comes to housing?
You know where those signs are when you drive into a state, it says, "Welcome to California"? They might as well replace them with signs that say, "Keep out." Because in California, the cost of housing is so high that for many people, it's simply unaffordable. The state has simply, for the most part, stopped building housing. I mean, there are cranes, there's housing going up, but it has slowed down over time really, really sharply, and it is nowhere near sufficient to keep pace with California's population. And so what you have is not enough housing and too many people trying.
One more person tells me to change title, and I'm gonna ban 25 people from my chat.
Trying to get it, and the inevitable result is that prices have gone up and away.
The median price of a home in San Diego County is now a staggering $830,000.
All around California, there are cities full of people who say that they are progressive, they're liberals. They believe in a more equal America, a more diverse America. They show up to the marches, they put in the lawn signs about everyone being equal, but at the same time, they're actively fighting to keep their neighborhoods looking like this.
So? That looks good. What's wrong with that? I actually like how this looks. I like this. Why is it disgusting? What's wrong with this? What is wrong with this? It looks good. The fuck? What is wrong with? I want this. It's a waste of space. How? I want my own lawn in my own house. This is a PMC hellhole? How? This looks like Michigan, dude. This looks like... What are you talking about? This is how Michigan is, too. Should have apartments and low-income Section 8 housing. They're not letting new houses be built. you want from me, man?
Okay, wait, but that doesn't look so bad. It's just a bunch of houses in a neighborhood.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? No. It turns out that
Hey, fuck you.
this is actually the result of specific policies, intentional policies that keeps these neighborhoods spread out and full of single-family homes, as opposed to higher density buildings like duplexes or apartment complexes. This is a real serious fight, and you can.
So you want us all to have to share a building, right? That's what you're saying. I don't want to share a building. I'm the truth. Listen, I'm here in America. We don't do the sharing thing that well. I'm gonna be honest. We Americans want to have our own home.
You can get a glimpse into it by looking at a zoning map. Yes, we're looking at a municipal zoning map of Palo Alto, California.
I don't want to share a fucking building with liberals. Then move out of the city. I don't live in the city, bitch. I don't even think cities should be a thing. We should move people out of cities and into countrysides where they can have families. And what's the point of cities? Cities are stupid, dude. Nobody should live in a fucking city. Fuck cities, dude.
Don't leave yet. This is really where it sinks in, so just stick around. So everything on this map that is yellow is zoned for single-family homes.
Cities suck ass.
Like this and this. One family can live here. But here in Palo Alto, there are a lot of new jobs. This is a desirable place to live for new opportunities. Over the past 8 years, the San Francisco
It's all just about liberals who want to live in big cities.
area has added 676,000 jobs, but only 176,000 housing units. So a few years ago, the city council voted to change the zoning of one section of the city right here. Specifically this 2-acre plot of land. They wanted to change it from low density housing to higher density housing so that they could build a 60-unit affordable housing complex for elderly members of the community. Okay, so they changed the zoning. Start building the 60-unit complex. No, the overwhelmingly liberal residents of Palo Alto decided to hold a vote to overturn the decision, to revert it back to low density single-family housing.
I mean, that is kulak behavior by the liberals. But I don't know if I trust this angle, because I feel like they're just trying to spread anti-single housing propaganda for BlackRock. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust the New York Times. I feel like they're just trying to fucking spread anti-single housing propaganda.
To yellow. And it passed. And the zoning was overturned. So now when you go to this plot of land, instead of an affordable housing complex for the elderly, what you're gonna see is this. A row of just a few houses, all of them massive and worth around $5 million each.
What the fuck? $5 million? For that? Then how are the elderly gonna afford those fucking... What is it, $1 million a piece for the elderly ones? The fuck is this?
I think people aren't living their values. You go to these meetings in these neighborhoods where they're talking about a new housing project, and it's always the same song, and it goes like this. I am very in favor of affordable housing. We need more of it in this community. However, I have some concerns about this project.
We have the hearts to do this, but we're doing it wrong, and we're dictating and harm onto the neighborhoods.
And then off we go with the concerns, and then nothing ever gets built.
This is happening all over California. And the result is that these neighborhoods are so expensive that they keep anyone out who isn't a part of this small group of super rich residents, many of whom bought their properties decades ago, and who spend their time fighting vigorously to keep the value of their real estate assets super high.
If you want to keep Palo Alto...
What is your land reform strategy? I just want some head right now. Not gonna lie.
The kind of neighborhood and community that we all treasure. Low intensity, low density, safe for kids to walk to school. You've got to vote against Measure D.
There's an aspect of sort of greed here and of nervousness about actually sharing those opportunities.
Let's go to another liberal bastion up here in Washington State. The Democratic Party talks about taxation, saying that our tax code has been, quote, rigged against the American people. Democrats all the time are decrying the fact that tax cuts are going to the wealthiest Americans.
It is time for a wealth tax in America.
Democrats believe in a progressive tax system where
Our suburbs are stupid, costly, and alienating. You'd sort on to build tram suburbs. What's a tram suburb, dude? And first of all, I believe in cars. I do believe in cars. I believe in cars, okay? I believe in the American car and family. Because here's the thing. Come on, fuck all the fucking lefty libs who hate cars. I like public transport. I hate cars. Shut the fuck up, dude. That's just un-American. Sorry, this is America. America's the land of cars. No. Fuck you for saying fuck cars. Not everyone wants to live in a fucking city and be stuck in a city somewhere where you're gonna control our transportation. Fuck cities. Every commie nation disagrees with you? Well, this is America. Every fucking... It's America. It's a different fucking country, dude. It's a different country. The nature of this country is different than other countries. We're not a collectivistic country. Do you understand what this country is? This country is an enterprise. It's the new world. We're here. We're all cowboys here, dude. We don't live in a communal country. You understand? Public transport sucks.
the rich pay a larger share of their income than the poor. This is like the most basic policy vision of like a progressive.
Land reform means devalue cities. We need to devalue cities. Cities are too valued. We need to devalue them. Take the jobs out of cities. Take the capital out of cities. Invest back in the country. Fuck the cities. That's what I'm saying.
Movement. It's front and center in Democrats' policy platform.
But if you go and look at Washington State, what you find is that in Washington State, if you look at the state and local taxes that people pay there, less affluent families pay a much larger share of their income in taxes than the wealthiest residents of Washington State. So
Would you guys forgive me if I just ended stream right now? Would you forgive me? Could you forgive me?
people like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos.
I'm so tired, guys.
Two of the state's most famous and wealthy residents.
I just wanna sleep.
Are in.
I'll be here tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow, 8-hour stream. Tomorrow, 8-hour stream. Tomorrow, 8-hour stream. Tomorrow, 8-hour stream. I had a long day, guys. Shut the fuck up. Long day today. I had like a fucking hell of a day, guys. I had a long day, okay? See you tomorrow when I have energy. Do you remember the days when we all were together and we spent our time with one and another instead of being... Should we raid this girl again? I feel like we've raided her too much. He's online. Frogan did not attend the debate. Raid. Rogan. Let's raid Frogan. Fuck it. Everyone left? Hey, bye guys!